Hello everyone. Today's poem is Shang Song, 玄鸟, a Shang Song from the Book of Songs. The title 玄鸟, by the character, by the words, it means a bird with black colors. Normally it was believed it's swallow. So this black bird or swallow was treated as the ancestors of the Shang people, of the Shang King. And this poem is the very original source of this story. There is also a saying that the Shang people was given birth by a female, and she swallowed an egg of the bird, of the black bird. Thus, he finally gave birth of the first Shang people. His name is Qi. And then have the Shang people, have the tribe, have the state, have the kingdom. So this is a story told as well. But when we're referring the very original source from this poem, there is nothing about the egg. In this poem, tells us very clearly that the black bird, 玄鸟, comes down and gave the birth to Shang people, gave the birth to the very first Shang people. So, which story you believe it? It's up to you. And this poem is very, very important by several things. First thing first, it gave us the story, how the Shang people was originated from the black bird, right? The second thing is it gives the name of a very famous king of the Shang dynasty, Wuding. It was him who restored the decaying regime in the mid-Shang period. He had a lot of great military exploits, and his story was still in the history book. So it's sometime 3,600 years before today. Most of the kings, they only have a name on the history book. No stories, nothing was written about the king but his name. But Wuding has a lot of stories about his legendary childhood, about when he just came to the throne. He had a lot of smart efforts to restore the weak and the decaying regime, and of course a lot of the military exploits. And all these was proved by the discovery of Yin Ruins. I have been to this place. The most interesting part at Yin Ruins is not King Wuding, the greatest king of the time. His wife, Fu Hao. So the tombs of the time basically was all raided by the tomb raiders. So in the Yin Ruins, there was nothing left. More than 10 kings was buried here, but nothing was left but the oracle bones. So with the oracle bones, we know a lot of stories and lifestyles and facts of that times, but there is no physical objects left. So we don't know the very real things of that time until 1976. The tomb of Fu Hao was discovered, and this tomb was intact. The grave goods was excavated intact. So finally, the grave goods, the oracle bones, the stories of the oracle bones, the stories on the history book, namely Shang Shu, Book of Songs, and some other history books, they all confirm each other, and which also tell us those very, very ancient history books, they are very, very true. And the interesting part of Fu Hao is she was maybe the last wife of King Wuding, and she was so appreciated and valued by Wuding because we have the oracle bones. We know a lot of stories between the King Wuding and Fu Hao. And what's more, Fu Hao was the grand priest, and she also was the general, the main commander of the military troops. So he has led the troop of the Shang dynasty for several major victories. Maybe this also enhanced the love between the king and Fu Hao. So there's a lot of interesting stories, and the grave goods also is very, very interesting and ancient. So I suggest, if you have the chance, you can go to the Yin Ruins and have a visit of the site of the museum built there. Even Fu Hao was so important for King Wuding and for the Shang dynasty, I should say. Before the oracle bone was excavated, which was sometime 100 years before us, nobody knows the name of Fu Hao because there was nothing written on the history book of Fu Hao. So that's the history, and that's the history book, right? Now let's get to the poem. 天命玄鸟，降而生商，宅殷土芒芒。The god, the heaven ordered the blackbird to come down and gave the birth to Shang people, to the very first Shang people. His name is Qi. And the heaven also ordered home the Shang people at the earth of Yin. The land of Yin basically is the capital area of the King Wuding's time. So according to the history book, the Shang people, they moved their capital for 9 times, and until the king Pan Geng, they finally stopped at the land of Yin and made it their capital. Wuding was after Pan Geng, so when he came to throne, he was at the capital of Yin. So the first sentence tells us very clearly that when he sang this anthems, he recalled to their very first ancestors, and that he was given birth by a bird, a blackbird, and at the time when he sang the anthem songs, he was standing at the earth of Yin, and he claims this piece of land was the bless, was the fortune from the God, from the heaven. 古帝命武汤，正域彼四方。The God, the heaven, ordered our king Tang to rule over the land of 4 directions. So the second pair of sentence goes to the first king of the Shang dynasty, King Tang. He was the first king of the Shang dynasty. He founded the Shang dynasty. And so the anthem claims that the power, the dynasty, the regime was the blessed, was the given from the king, from the heaven. And here, be careful, the term 四方, 4 directions, is an alternative name for the land under the heaven. 方命厥后，奄有九有. And later on, the heaven, the God, ordered his descendants to have all the land of 9 places. So this tells us at the very first beginning, the land of Shang dynasty was not as big as later's. They expand through first king, second king, third king. So their land was expanding all the time, and finally, sometime they have all the land. 奄有 means they have something all. 九有 means the 9 places. So there is also a term to call the China as 九州, because this is a very, very long story. I won't go to that very long story, but just to remember, at the very beginning, at the time of 大禹, the land was referred as 9 places, 九州, and here it's the alternative name of 九州. It called the whole land of China as 九有. Okay, let's continue. 商之先后，受命不殆，在武丁孙子. The kings, the previous kings of the Shang dynasty, they receive the order from the heaven. They have the mandate of heaven endlessly. And until the time Wu Ding and his descendants. So this whole sentence is a very, very smart way of writing. So basically, it means, if in a modern way of writing this sentence, the sentence should be like this: 商之先后，和武丁孙子，受命不殆. So which means our previous kings and myself and my descendants, we all have the mandate of heaven endlessly, and the heaven gave us order all the time, never ends. 受命不殆. We accept the order from heaven endlessly. But when the poet was writing this sentence, he put the verb in the center of this long sentence, 受命不殆. He put it in the center, and he put the subject. There's a bunch of subject, right? The previous king. This is one subject. The myself, 武丁, and my descendants, 在武丁孙子, is also the subject. But he divided the subject into two parts according the timelines, right? So the three piece of sentence, it makes the accepting the mandate from heaven like a stream of actions. The previous kings, they are accepting the mandate of heaven endlessly, and now we are accepting the mandate from heaven right now, and later on my descendants will continue to have the mandate of heaven. Just imagine it when you're reading and singing the sentences, you have such feelings. The stream of actions, the long stream of receiving the mandate from heavens, from long time ago to today, and to the following generations. Okay, let's continue. 武丁孙子，武王靡不胜. Myself, 武丁, and my descendants, and also when I recall our first king, 武王, King Tang, we all fulfill our duties. We all do our jobs. So, as far as we understand the previous sentence, the writing sequence and the real stream of actions, this sentence is quite similar, but in the opposite ways. At this sentence, he put the myself, 武丁, the king was sitting in the ancestor temple, right? Myself, 武丁, and my descendants, we all fulfill our duties, the duties from the heaven, right? The mandate from heaven. And then he recalled the first king, King Tang, that he claims that we all fulfill our duties. We don't fail to the mandate of heaven. So this reverses the sequence of the stream of actions, because fulfilling the duty of heaven, the first king was the first, and then one by one, right? But here he wants to emphasize that the most important things is the concurrent king. He was doing the duty at the very moment. So he put himself at the very beginning when he telling the things to fulfilling his duty. And he put the first king at the very last, because that's something has been done. That's much less important to the people in this grand ceremony, right? But he was still, the first king should still be recalled, because he founded everything of here. So from these small techniques, we can feel that the people at that time, when they writing these songs, they have very, very sophisticated thinking and writing already. Okay, let's continue. 龙旂十乘，大糦是承. There are 10 chariots with dragon flags, and they all come to here to support, to hold the sacrifice. So the flag of dragons means the highest level of state lord. So here it's telling us the king was the host of this grand ceremony, and the state lord, the most senior state lord from the country, they also come to this grand ceremony, and they also come to here to be part of the priest of the to support this grand ceremony, because the character 大糦 refers to the sacrifice made of the millet, made of meat, made of rice. So this is the most serious and highest level sacrifice, and these state lords, they are coming here with grand sacrifice holding in their hands. Okay, let's continue. 邦畿千里，为民所止，肇域彼四海. The states, the capital areas crossed thousands miles, and our people, that's the place our people lived. And the land of Shang dynasty goes to the 4 seas. So this sentence is quite famous. Remember it. When you want to praise a powerful, a strong country and his people, just put it forward. 邦畿千里，为民所止，肇域彼四海. So let me explain the character. 邦畿, the states within the capital area. So the capital is a city normally, but in that time, it might not be a city. It may be many cities, and the cities plus the suburb, out of the cities, they all composed of the capital area. And the king was so proud of this area because these people are the Shang people mainly, and they are the core of this country. So the states and the suburb and the people of this place,邦畿. So邦畿is a very special term, the area of the capital. They are so huge, they crossed 1,000 miles. So let me give you some idea. They maybe crossed 1,000 miles because from the history we know that the northern part of this capital area is Anyang, the Yin Ruins, and the southern part, they almost come down to Zhengzhou, and the Yellow River is just like this in this map, and the capital area is all within the river, Henei, west to the Yellow River. So it's a long strip over 1,000 miles. 为民所止, 止, the logo refers to food. So it could also refers to the people stay and live here. It could also refers that the people lead their life under the code of conduct of the Shang dynasty. So 止 sometimes it refers to go step by step per the code of conduct. So it could have both meanings, but anyhow, it described that this piece of land of 1,000 miles is prosperous with populations, and they are all wealth and good people. 肇域彼四海. So 四海 is the believing of the ancient Chinese that the world is, the boundary of the world is of 4 seasons, in the east, in the west, in the north, in the south. And the land was within the 4 seas. And 肇域彼四海, it tells us that the Shang King, his power reached to the limits of the world. All the land and the heaven was in the hand of Shang King. Okay, let's continue. 四海来假，来假祁祁. So the people within the 4 seas, they all come to here to bless their fortune. So 假 means to put the fortune upon someone. So here 四海来假 means they come here to beg the fortune from heaven, from the king for the fortune. 来假祁祁. So the heaven, the king, gave the fortune, blessed the fortune to the people. So many. 祁祁 means abundant and many. Okay, the last sentence. 景员维河，殷受命咸宜，百禄是何? The grand plateau, the grand land at the Yellow River here, our Yin people, our Shang people, as a king, I accept the order from heaven to rule over and to give the fortune to all the people. And hundreds of fortunes has been allocated to put up to my people. So let me explain the character. So this basically this sentence is a self-claim of the king. He claimed his mandate is from heaven, and he rule over and bless the people and the heaven. And finally, some hundreds of fortunes has been allocated and gave to his people. And okay, the character 景员 here is very likely is a loan word. 景 means a place high and bright, and this is very likely referring to the capital, to the place in ruins, the place of the in ruins nowadays. This is the capital of the Shang people, right? So this place is a plateau, flat and high. So that's a very nice line for those people. And it's belong the Yellow River, 维河. So at that time, when you saw the term, the character 河, it only refers to Yellow River. So here is the last sentences. He's claiming his mandate to everybody. At this place, at this fortune place by the Yellow River, I accept 殷受命. Yin is the place. The place. Here it also refers to the people, refers to the Shang King. I received the mandate from heaven. 殷受命 received the mandate from heaven. 韩夷 Han means all over. 夷 has two meanings. It means the fortune, means the assets. It also refers to sacrifice to heaven, because if you have the right to sacrifice to the heaven, you are a citizen of this country, right? So here, the king tells very clearly, as the king, I am the representative of your people, and I accept the mandate from heaven, and I also bless the fortune for all you. 百禄 Lu is the fortune, and normally it's related with the state lord. So here it tells us very likely some hundreds of state lords was here in this grand ceremony, and 百禄是何 means I have blessed your hundreds of lords with the fortune by this grand ceremony. So basically, this whole poem is a song by the king Wuding, and he praised his ancestors. He begged the fortune from the heavens, and he also claimed his mandate to the people under him, to the state's lord under him, that I'm the people with the mandate, and it's me, I bless the fortune for you, and all the fortune of you have today and in the future is by me, through me. We have gone through several anthem songs, and this one is a little bit special because the host, the king Wuding, he called himself name in this song for twice, right? So this reflects how pride, how powerful, and how self-confident the king Wuding was. And nobody else in the Shang dynasty, even till Zhou dynasty, nobody dared to claim his own name when he sing the anthem songs to God, to his ancestors. Okay, that's for today. Bye-bye.